I am an American-born, American-raised citizen of the United States of America. I am also a nearly 24-year active duty medical retired non-commissioned officer for the United States Army. I hear stories and read that groups like ISIS are looking for people like me to take out as a target. But I'm telling you right now, you're wasting your time. See, I'm not here to fight you. The terrorists I know, they know my name. They know where I live. They know my social security number. They know my date of birth. They know my medical history. So there's no need to hide. And tell you the truth, you come after someone like me, you would only make my government smile. Once I get this done, if we have issue, then we can deal with each other then. But for now, allow the people of the world to help me do my fight. I can't hide. Mr. President, President Barack Obama, it's today, March 22nd, 2015. I have to mark this day because I don't know if this will get to you in days, weeks, or years. But I have hope that the people of this country, the people around the world, will make sure you have to answer. Don't get me wrong, I know who I'm talking to. Was considered the most powerful man in the free world. And you can do a number of things. Even make me disappear, even make my life miserable. But I honestly don't think any of those will have an effect on me. And the fact that you're seeing this video now means that now the world is behind me. I'm trying to understand some things with you. You know, you come in, hope and change. You know, you talk about the veterans and what you found as a senator and taking care of us. Don't get me wrong, you've done some things I thought I pretty much support. I know you probably have to work out some issues with them. You know, gays in the military, never had a problem with them. Never. Never will. Don't care about anybody's sex life. I don't care about their job, what they're doing on their job. Obamacare, seeing it around the world, it actually is what the military is based off of. It's never hurt me. Been able to see doctors anytime, get treatment anytime that I need. Immigration, all these other things, okay. But let me tell you this, Mr. President. You tell me, how can someone with the balls enough to say gays in the military, universal health care is going to happen, and I'm going to make it happen. Immigration is going to happen, I'm going to make it happen. How could you grab it and throw out Obamacare, yet still don't address veteran care? A new secretary does not help. Law changes, more money, doesn't help. Electronic records, it's already there. And each time you say you're working on it, it's a lie. I'm proof that it's there. But I'm also proof that this system is so corrupt and no one is willing to step in and fix it. So far, not even you. I know this because I've tried. I've went through members of Congress, advocacy groups, a couple of newspaper reporters who wrote stories, and one TV station. I've tried to contact FBI, of course, Inspector General for the VA. Can't get through to them. You try it. Go online to the Inspector General website or the IG's website and try to get through to the DC office. You won't. You'll be directed right back to where you are. My case has been through so many people. And all of them have ran away from me. It's not like my cases, my medical issues are not legit. They include things like spinal cord injury, an actual tear in my neck that happened in 2007 while I was in South Korea. They include things like syringomyelia, I believe. I'm going to mess up these medical terms, but some people out there know what I mean. Found in my midsection of my spine. Axonal degeneration of my lower spine. Stenosis, spinal stenosis, cervical stenosis, lumbar stenosis. Nerve damage, both arms, both legs. Fast heart rate, tachycardia. Upper motor neuron signs, TBI, and spinal cord related vision issues, bowel, gastro, acid reflux, bladder, muscle skeletal damage from a cervical fusion in my neck from C4 to C6, total disc replacement of C6 and C7 2 years later. As you see by watching this, pretty much impaired. My thinking is kind of slow. I have numbness nearly all of my body. I have lost my fine motor skills. I have movement disorders and spasticity that cause my body to tighten up and my arms and legs to, some jerk movements in my body causes my arms and legs to just jump out. I have hernias as a result of my spinal cord issues. I have also high blood pressure that's uncontrolled. It goes up and down as it wants, whether I take medicine or not. That's been proven. Even currently, I have some kind of lump right here, just under my chest plate. I had a problem with my knees that was swollen, but I've already been diagnosed with knee problems and wear braces for patella knee syndrome. But there's something else that's going on with it now. I recently went through an endoscope, but I had to be put under at the Tampa VA. And I had to stay overnight in the hospital just because I didn't have a ride home and because they had to put me under with the medication. But let me tell you about that event. I woke up from there and I had this cut in my lip on the inside, like I bit my lip. And as I came to and they wheeled me out of the place, I mentioned to one of the nurses, I'm sorry for what I must have did when I was under, but you didn't have to hit me. And she laughed and she said, no, her face actually wasn't a laugh on her face, it was on mine. And she said, no, we were worried, we were panicking because when you were under, you were coughing violently. But the doctor who so-called did it actually was there when I first came in, screening my medical records prior. There's no mention of him. There's no mention of this. In fact, he would never even talk to me again. My vision, I have all sorts of issues with it. I know this. I know there's 5 fingers or 4 thumbs and 1 thumb and 4 fingers, but I know there's 5 digits here. But I see 10, I see 12, I see some fading out, I see 4, whatever. This is what I see. Reading, words jump, letters fade in and out. My fine motor vision, trying to sort out keys or putting a key in the door, it fades out. Trying to write and focus on the line where you read to write or sign in, it fades out. I watch TV, action scenes or sports that move fast or where the camera turns. I can't follow. They blur out. I get headaches from all of these things right above my eyes. My eyes hurt. I have this buildup that builds in at night. It feels like sand. I started complaining about my eyes in 2009, and they were eventually getting worse. I would go through exams where they just keep giving me glasses and reading glasses. I probably have, between the VA and the Army, probably 10 to 12 pair, either reading glasses or eyeglasses. None of them help. Finally, last year I ended up getting these after fighting and complaining and filing complaints to patient advocacy down here in Tampa. I finally got to go to TBI for examination of my eyes. Well, they issued me these, and they did find things wrong. Things wrong that were already found while I was in the Army. Things found that I was already going through therapy in the Army. And I guess that's why I'm here now, because I keep saying that word, the Army, because that's where it started. I was put out the Army in 2010. I went into the Wounded Transition Unit, where I was going to be medically retired after my second surgery to my neck for the spinal cord injury problems I had. That's what the paperwork said. By the end, they would put me out for degenerative disc disease in my neck alone. No other damage that was documented in my record was acknowledged. In fact, I would fight through 2 appeals boards. And they sent me back the first time, and I ended up still being put out because of a movement disorder that I would develop. Simply because they would say I was faking it. I was malingering. I had adjustment disorder. Now, there's no clinical psychiatrist that would say this. I know because I've talked to them. I was talking to one before when all this stuff was going on with the movement disorder before it even started. She saw all this happen. She never once indicated that somehow this is faking. I was flatly told by a psychiatrist on a crisis hotline, no psychiatrist would do that because of all the neurological damage you have. But yeah, the Army did it and got away with it. So I got out the Army effective January 2012. I couldn't get an appointment with the VA until March 30th. And that day I walked in. The doctor saw me, the nurse saw me individually, and they couldn't believe it. They noticed my walking, my movements. And the doctor's first response was, he looked in the computer at my record. He said, "How are you only rated at 50%?" I told him the simple answer. If you look at there, you won't see any neurological damage at all. None. And he did. And he didn't see it. And I should also mention that while I was at the Wounded Transition Command, the unit, I was also examined by the VA and my medical records reviewed. But somehow she came up with the same conclusion, to lump everything wrong with me, and I mean literally everything, under degenerative disc disease. No neurological issue at all. My blood pressure that I talked about earlier, control with meds, yeah, well, that's what she wrote. My bowel issues, where I can't leave the house upon waking up a good 3-4 hours because it will come in an instant, and it takes me about a couple hours to actually do a bowel movement. Now, I know that may be too much information for some people, but those things that would have normally caused me embarrassment to talk about or say haven't. See, because I can't hide certain things about me. I'll look normal to most people until they really see me, until they see me moving or walking. If they're around me and see me writing, you know, things like that, when the pain hits and they see my face grimace, that's when they know, or they hear my story. You know, those things didn't bother me because I knew that happened to me. I knew what happened to me happened from doing something that should be noble, I guess. And I wasn't out clowning around somewhere and got injured. I wasn't playing $1 million sports, pro sports, and got injured. And that's no offense. I love my athletes, trust me. But it's because it happened to me. Spending nearly half my life. Well, since we considered adults as a male as at 25, all of my adult life, all my mature adult life, I spent serving this country. I didn't ask for anything. When I got hurt, I went to sick call, see the doctor. Doctor told me, rest for 2 days, go back to work. Whatever they told me, that's what I did mostly. And went on back. But I really struggle to getting through this video. I know maybe I'm gonna sound uh, paranoid at times. I know that by talking, my thought process may repeat itself, may sound somewhat impaired. And I can admit that it is somewhat impaired. Now, while I would think that remembering the days of the week or walking up to the refrigerator, going to the kitchen and knowing what you're doing and get there and forget. Forget if you saw a movie, buying the same video game from a store. I would have normally just put that to, I guess, the neurological damage. I mean, I literally concentrate when I walk, concentrate when I move. I have to. Even if I'm standing still, I have to be aware. Because I'll fall back. I'll get episodes where my legs or my knees try to give out. I get spells where they jerk and tighten up that I can't even control them until the muscle contraction releases. I have a lot of damage, a lot. And I've been seen by experts, by specialists, and they all know it's there. And it's so much, and it's so many of the symptoms combined that it's a really, really complicated issue. But the mental part, I really have to put this on what's been happening to me the last few years. I mean, you think about it, Mr. President. You do your job. I mean, I didn't just do my job. I am a non-commissioned officer. Any of my soldiers would tell you that. There's a difference between being a soldier and working for the Army. I am a soldier. I will always be. I know that now. But to think that because all these things are in my record, they've all been confirmed, and you're putting me out for a spinal cord injury, to turn around and have to fight for that medical diagnosis to be treated, to be acknowledged by the Veterans Benefits Office, to think that you would have to fight for that is kind of depressing. Yeah, that's the word I'll use for now. But to fight and say, hey, what do you mean? Here's my record. This is for my movement disorder. University of North Carolina. It also includes nerve tests. Here, this is for my vision issues. Starting in Fort Bragg, therapies, everything, TBI related, spinal cord injury related, therapies, testing, Recommendation to stay in the Army longer to get treatment. They're there. Spinal cord injuries. Operations from Seoul, South Korea, and Walter Reed Army Hospital. MRIs. Nerve testing, upper and lower body, gastro documentation, and that's not all. I have 3-inch binders of medical records of other things wrong with me internally. And because I stood up to fight or piss someone off, because I did call them out or quoted the regulations on them, or hurt their pride, to turn around and call me a liar, a faker, a malingerer, to have my treatment ignored, to not be treated. I'm not gonna fucking turn this off. I'm not. See, I was disillusioned when I retired. I could take off this uniform and get over or get by with whatever disabilities I had and still have somewhat of a life, because the government was going to take care of me. You know, pushing myself past injuries for literally my whole military career. But doing the right thing by soldiers, standing up for the soldiers when corrupt leaders want to just pick on them. Standing up for myself when I became the victim because they were mad at me for standing up for the soldiers. I thought I could get rid of all that. I thought I could enjoy the life of someone who got to be, as you say, a citizen of the world. And I just realized that I wasn't just a citizen of the world. I've been a soldier of the world. Any allies you were linked to at that time, anywhere you wanted us to go at that time. We served with great people from around the world, from other countries. So I'm not just a citizen of the world, I am a soldier of the world. And that's why I'm coming out to get the support of the world and embarrass you, embarrass Congress, embarrass the military, embarrass the VA system that you won't fix. And you're not alone. I know some people are going to be mad because they see a black man coming after the black president. Fuck that. I am not Mike Brown. And I don't mean no offense to his parents. I am not Mike Brown because I am not 18 years old. I'm 52. My destination to college or whatever is not in question. I have done it. You're not going to catch me out there doing anything that was questionable. Now, you're going to have some bad stuff on me probably, what you would probably consider, but nobody I know would. There's no crime, no minor crimes, no major crime. Just trying to live my life. But I'm not here to cause people to think this way, to get divided on something I say, to take a side or criticize me for what I say and who I'm saying it to. I want the people to help effect change for good. Not cover it up, not make it go away. I know that happens. My military experience has shown me that beyond any doubt. It's happening to me now. Somehow my spinal cord injuries are fading away. I've been through advocacy groups, like I said. I've been through the Disabled American Veterans, DAV, twice. Saw my records, saying this is the worst case we've ever seen. Dispute everything based on the Army's medical evaluation. Now, all those injuries that I listed to you, they should be documented in my Army record, but they're not. Because you know what? The medical doctor, she would decide on my medical records what she's supposed to do this examination, would say, no annotate, no examination results on this form. And she gives a form number, a handwritten form number. Now, this is 2010. Computer electronic records are there. She goes into the electronic record not to annotate what is wrong with me, which she acknowledged all these other issues, side issues, symptoms I was having was from my spinal cord injuries. But she doesn't put that in the most important physical I would have. Come on. I would go to neurology, who would, at Fort Bragg. And the guy would sit there, ask me questions, typing in the computer. Nothing else. I left. Next thing I know, his records are saying he goes to dispute nerve tests. It's sticking needles in my arms, measuring the signals or whatever it does. My arms, my neck, my back. I've had this done to the upper body twice in my career. The last was 2010, which found the same things diagnosed in 97. And he would dispute them, saying no clear sign. My diagnoses were severe chronic, likely C8 and C7 radiculopathy. It's related to my spinal cord injury, which actually was called myelopathy. I was in 2007 from this hospital in Korea. After my surgery, I was diagnosed with herniated disc with myelopathy. But this will go away. Everything that's been diagnosed, been tested, has went away. But what has built is my mental record. I've had a neurologist at the Tampa, was his name Ali Borzai, something like that. I didn't tell you that little thing. See, I'm not here to attack Congress, the VA, the Army, or the President of the United States. I'm a soldier. That fight I can never win. So I'm going to try something different, and I'm going to attack individuals. The chief of the Tampa Clinic, the chief, Kevin White, of the Spinal Cord Clinic, the chief of the Eye Clinic, the chief of Gastro. I'm attacking all these people because there's no doubt. You've seen the evidence. This is my military evidence. Well, the VA evidence is there too. Their own tests and shows these things. Their own specialists confirm these things wrong with me. Their own MRIs, and yet someone can out the blue still say I'm faking. Like I said, I've sought help through the DAV, and twice they came to fight for me. Twice they have abandoned me. I went through the Wounded Warrior Project twice. Again, worst case we ever seen. Don't worry, we will fix it. 1 week later, 3 weeks later, a year later, don't hear from them. Don't call me back and say, well, the records don't show this because they saw them already. They don't come back and say, well, it's mental, because they know that doesn't hold water. They just don't come back. So there's really a serious conspiracy going on, or maybe I am really crazy. Maybe what I just showed you, and maybe what you're seeing in front of the video, does not exist. And that's a dangerous thing. See, because it makes you think, fuck it. You're mad as hell. I'm not sure why. You're mad as hell because they got caught, or so sloppy, or you're mad as hell because it's really going on. I still don't believe it. I don't. See, because if you're mad as hell, this case here should make you fucking outraged. Like us. But you're not alone. I've tried Representative Jeff Miller, Republican, Chairman, House Committee of Veterans Affairs. My eyes giving me issues, man. And on the House Committee on Armed Services. I saw him on a clip, Fox News, talking about how you, Mr. President, need to step up and address the concerns of the backlog to the people. I tried to call this office thinking, wow, cool, somebody's fighting. You know what I was told? Call the senator in your district. House Committee on Veterans Affairs and House Committee on Armed Services. I'm a pretty intelligent guy, Mr. President, but I'm sure they're smarter. But how many districts, how many states have a House Committee on Veterans Chairman? The Chairman, House Committee on Veteran Affairs, and the House Committee on Armed Services. How many districts have that? I think one. So every fucking veteran to talk to him got to move there? Come on. Bullshit. I talked to Senator Burr. Well, called his office. Again. From North Carolina, Republican, the ranking member of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee. I left a message too on there. I'm not going to say the guy's name for now, but left a message, told him my name, what the problem was at Fort Bragg. About 20 minutes later, I get a call from my commander at Fort Bragg to come in. He called them and told them I filed a complaint. Oh, I called about a complaint. Never called me back. Never tried to contact me. Anything. So as this kept going on, I contacted office Representative Renee Elmers, also a Republican in North Carolina. And the lady initially started helping me. I gave her the release from her medical stuff. She called me back, said immediately, hey, the University of North Carolina, they're saying all these things are wrong with you. But Fort Bragg is saying that it's not. So we're going to dig more and we'll let you know. Well, that digging never happened. There was a letter written by, at that time, Major Stephen Lewis. Yeah, that fucker I'm going after. It is personal. Because he's done this to so many people. Too many. But he would write her basically saying that somehow my surgery that they sent me for basically cured me. It's not that I had a tear in my spinal cord, but it was compressed. Now, both surgeries I had were prior to me even coming to this unit, that warrior transition command. So for him to say that, and there's other lies in there, he says, along with the PA assistant, what's his name, Joe Smith, who would deny me the right to be seen again. I was supposed to be seen after my other operation back in Walter Reed or Bethesda through a video conference. He cut that out, didn't allow me to. And he would later misrepresent himself as a neurologist to the University of North Carolina, trying to dispute what they had found. Now let me tell you, when I went to the University of North Carolina, it was for a movement disorder. And they tested everything. The first day I was there, the neurologist and his assistant, they're doing tests, and the doctor, he would come back and double check something, and they're marking things. They go out the office for a while, come back with the movement disorder guy, and he'd sit down and ask me about the characteristics of what it starts or when it starts, and when it dies down, things like that. And it was very simple on the spot. They called it action myoclonus with action, or action myoclonus. I won't get into details about it now because this is the uniform for declarations. I will change uniforms when I come back to fight. And I'm going to fight. But I called this Congresswoman Elmer's office back later and said, hey, this guy lied to in an official letter to a member of Congress. I can show you the proof, even against his own writing in my medical record. The lady treated me like I was a piece of shit. Didn't want to hear it. Talked sarcastically to me. Really insulting. One of my family members in Michigan contacted Gary Peters. He's a Democrat in Michigan. See, I'm bipartisan. I'm with whoever is going for the vets. You're going for the vets. If you're not, you're not. But basically, she thought he would help because he always, I guess, is supporting the vets, saying so. Again, no help. Told you, go ahead and appeal to the VA. I have talked to your FBI because of what they were doing about the Phoenix stuff. Somehow they were investigating. I was told what's happening to me is not a crime. I guess I have to die first for it to be a crime. Not that they're letting me die, but I died. Now, I'm pretty sure this video is all over the place. But what I do have hope for is that probably even before this gets to you, there are some lawyers, young, old, experienced, whatever, that are willing to stand up. There are some editors or young journalists or news producers that are willing to stand up as long as they have the evidence, as long as they know what I tell them is true and what I can show them is true. There's no doubt about the truth, about what's true. It's in writing. It's not mine. I haven't diagnosed anything in my medical records. I haven't taken MRIs on myself. I certainly didn't operate on myself. I don't write the things in there. These are their writings. Writings and findings from the doctors who are doing what they're supposed to do. Writings disputing it by doctors. Well, I can't fucking call these people doctors. Healthcare people in your system that dispute it. Now, they don't put any justification on why they dispute it. It's just like the asshole here in Tampa, in neurology. He say I clearly have medical disorder, medical problems, or that I was malingering. Doesn't say anything about this movement issue. Because he can't. You can dispute me all you want, but dispute Severance Hospital in Seoul, Korea, and the neurology and neurosurgeon and orthopedics teams that worked on me and operated on me and opened my neck up. Or the same team was the different team that would do it the second time in Bethesda. Dispute the neurologists who put the nerve test and read the results and simply wrote what was there. My MRIs. None of these things I had any influence on. The numerous EEGs, EKGs for my heart that shows fast heart rate, tachycardia. Yet, if you look at my VA records, you will see that they're reporting my heart is normal. You will see that the Army, like I said, none of these things are there from the Army. I was medically put out the Army for degenerative disc disease of the neck alone, 20%, period. The VA would do slightly better. And that examiner, what's her name? Diane Hendricks. Yeah. I'm not sparing any of you. This is war. This is war. You're fighting a soldier. And I don't know if you want to call me crazy, naive, stubborn, but I believe in this fight. I believe the evidence shows beyond any doubt, because you people wrote it. But anyway, let me get back to you, Miss Hendricks. You listen to them too, and put my neck as degenerative disc disease. But my VA rating would be at least 50%. It would be for my knees, patella knee syndrome. I think that was 20% each knee, and then something else was 10. And while it should have probably actually came out to 60% rating, I was getting paid at 50%. My injuries from the Army standpoint would be that all of this happened in 1988 when I came into the Army. Somehow it was mistakenly, the spinal cord injury of myelopathy was mistakenly referred that way when I joined the Army. And yet I was able to go through the next 24 years. That's what it says. And there are a number of reasons they did this. It's just to keep me. Any rate higher than 20% would have, any acknowledgement of my spinal cord injury would have put me immediately into the VA spinal cord system. It would have allowed me to be treated, allowed me to get benefits that others are getting. Hell, I asked someone at the Wounded Warrior Project recommendation on best kind of bed I can buy because I have trouble getting up from it. My body temperature goes from hot to cold. My arms and legs, even my body's hot and sweating, my arms and legs at times down to my hands and fingers will be freezing, like deep inside. I get, like I said, I still have a permanent numbness. I have numbness nearly all over my body, including my tongue. I get these zapping, almost like shocking pains. And they recently started to even do that on my tongue, my side of my mouth, my lip. All these have been ignored. All of them continue to be ignored. Everything has disappeared. So, you tell me, Mr. President, am I paranoid to come to the conclusion that I've been left to die? I've been marked. I know that. These people know me before I even come up in there. Everything wrong with me somehow eliminated. And now they're about to come after me financially. Because when they take off this thing for my bladder, which, like I said, there's no doubt they're going to do that. That's why they called me in. I will have to stop this fight because I have to figure out how not to be homeless. I have to figure out how to pay my bills. I don't get it. Why? Why would I have to prove what is in writing? Why do I need a lawyer? Why do I need an advocacy group? Why can't someone just do their job? There is no documented, summarized physical of me except for the University of North Carolina. When I do things like over my hand, you see that? You can say I'm faking, but why would a doctor initially see you and say you're faking? When I do things like open my fingers, count 5, 10, 7, 8. You see that? Why would a doctor say I'm faking it? Who thinks of some shit like that to do? You know, let me show you something. This is all what's curious. When I go to writing, I want to try to right. And it causes that jerk. That's the myoclonus. If you strain my muscles or try to overexert myself or engage in fine motor skills, it does that. But it dies down. As long as I don't try to push it, it eventually dies down. Everyone's that's seen that, every medical person that's seen that outside of the VA, well, a lot in the VA have. Or am I walking? But the first thing they want to say is, I'm faking it. This is what I'm fighting. And I can't win a fight when they have control to manipulate my records any way they want. 10 years ago, probably even 5, I would be left to die and no one would hear me. But I'm not going out like that. I expected that I could die in war, training for war, on my way to war, on my way home from war, on my way home from work. Hell, just by wearing this military uniform alone, I expected that. And I was okay with it. But to come home and be terrorized and humiliated, to have 24 years of service discredited by some asshole, to have a system where you can disregard all physical evidence and stick by your buddy or do your friend a favor or so-called be loyal, to allow a veteran to suffer through that, their families to suffer through seeing that. Is that American? How can you ever again criticize a foreign leader anywhere, no matter how fucking corrupt they are, of human rights, when now they see this video, they're going to say, fuck you, you hypocrite. And you deserve it. Don't get me wrong, Mr. President. It would have been an honor for me to meet you. Actually, I had a space for you that was one of the happy moments of my retirement. That, oh, wow, I get history. First black president on my retirement certificate. Wow. But I can't. I can't even tell you where it's at right now. I can't have pride in a uniform that represents a lot. I have pride in my service, don't you get me wrong, because I know I did the right thing most times. But when I talk to people in my Tai Chi class and they see me walking or they ask about my injuries, when I talk to my friends from around the world and they ask how am I doing now, and I tell them it's even worse now. Now they're denying everything that's wrong with me. Now they're accusing me of faking. They can't believe it. I'm not proud to say that to anybody because I look like the fool to believe this, to believe in you. I guess when you talked about hope and change, you didn't include us because nothing's changed. And the hope is hopelessness. I mean, I was pushed over the edge, Mr. President, that line where you kill yourself or kill somebody. But I had too many of them to kill. And doing that was not going to help anyone. I've been encouraged to do this video by not just soldiers, not just civilians, people that work at the Army, in the Army at Fort Bragg that saw this going on, people in the VA that see this going on. I've had glimpses of hope, seeing what you call the whistleblowers come forward, the doctor about the Phoenix, the compensation people. I've had hope, but there their story is, and there their story goes. And then there's my story. Not just a story, but a face. Not just a story, but documentation. I mean, the documentation is everything. Yet, it's being ignored. It's allowed to be covered up. I told you I'm not Mike Brown, but I'm proud of those people that jumped to the streets and took the stand. Because they understand that now. We have to make a stand all over this country if necessary. And what happened to that kid can unite people to come out like that, then someone like me should be able to do more. You might try to find something in this video to come arrest me, whatever, do it. Like I said, the documentation is there. It's not like Bradley Manning. These are my military records. So you're not throwing me in jail for displaying what the fuck is in my medical record. It's same as Edward Snowden with the documents he released. These are mine. So, unlike Bradley Manning, I'm not going to jail. And unlike Edward Snowden, I ain't running. Nope. And if I got to take to the streets myself, which actually is my plan, that's what I'm going to do. And if I can get every veteran in this country, every veteran all over this world, just US alone, to 1 hour, go stand in the highway and stop traffic, to let them know we're not taking this shit anymore. See, because by you, Congress, advocacy groups, people in between, I have come to something that we've all been missing. The VA whistleblowers. They're not whistleblowers, they're heroes. What we're missing is you're quietly standing united. You're fucked up about everything else. But on this, you're all saying, let it go away. We're not going away. We're going to get louder and louder. And if you want to charge me with inciting, whatever you want to do, let me remind you of some of your words. We have the best trained troops in the world. Well, that includes standing up. So don't you expect that I'm going to lay down. Don't you expect that I'm going to die without a fucking fight. Don't you expect that I'm not going to fight for my life. And from now on, what has been done quietly over the last 5 years will be done publicly. Any fucker that writes negative shit in my record is going to be called out. You're not going to do nothing to them. You're not going to send them to jail. You're not going to fire them. You're not going to take away their medical license. But I am. I am going to expose them to the world one by one. And I'm going to tell you what injuries they chose to hide and how serious these injuries are. I'm going to let their family members, their friends, their co-workers see the shady, corrupt criminal they really are. I mean, I'm the one who's accused of being a liar. Fuck. You know, maybe I should have done something drastic. Or call myself a terrorist. Maybe I should have fucking kept this mask on. What you gonna do? Send me down to Guantanamo Bay and give me medical care? Cool. What are you gonna do? Send me to jail and give me medical care? Cool. It's better than this. This ain't right. Someone has to challenge it. Someone has to call you out. Someone has to call out all of you. And right now it's me. I didn't want to. I didn't expect to. But the evidence, the signs, everything that's brought me to this point, my background, my history, my future, everything that has led me to this point, I know this is what I must do. I've tried. I explained to you. I've tried to give my case to other people to handle for me. Thought someone would come to the rescue. And regardless, no matter how devastating, how indisputable the evidence is, they've all abandoned me. So somewhere between you and down here, there's some power going on. So I can't fight the system, but I'm gonna get all these cowards, and some of them cowards are gonna start coming forward trying to save their ass. Maybe it'll be bitch name. Maybe my primary doctor here at the Spinal Cord Clinic, who diagnosed me as incomplete quadriplegic due to a lesion, tear, from C5 to C7. Admit me into spinal cord clinic. And then I'm looking at a record on July would say, level of spinal cord injury unknown, no data available. Etiology, cause of spinal cord injury, no data available. And this is on the record of the one who wrote that diagnosis. No, maybe she'll come forward and tell you that it was Kevin White that made her do it. Because she didn't start off that way. There's a few people that didn't start off that way. Maybe Mary Gabriel, the one who didn't write my medical evaluation in the Army would come forward and say, someone told her to write that there. Someone told her to leave it off. I don't know. I don't care. But there are some people that only deserve jail time. They can confess, cry. I don't give a shit. Some of these cowards, hey, they might even kill themselves. But leave a note. I know that sounds cruel, right? But it's not. It's not. If it sounds cruel, then you tell me what family who has had someone murdered by someone thought about that criminal's family. None. And that would be the case. Because there are more victims than me. There are thousands of families that suffer because they're going through this bullshit. You see, I don't know what's going to end the result of this case going to be, but I'm going to tell you this. And you need to understand. I'm sure you do. You're a pretty smart guy. So, what my case bottom line shows you, once you see really all the injuries, all the damage wrong with me, and the severity of most, and the life-threatening effect of most, and you compare that to the care I've been receiving, or what's annotated as my benefits, and what is wrong with me, you only have one conclusion. If they can do this to me, with all this evidence, going through every level of the system for help, what are we doing to the soldier who's been in 2-3 years? The young soldier who's been in 6 years? The ones who too injured to fight, whether it's mentally or physical? The ones who don't know where to fight because they've been abandoned like me from every aspect possible. And if they can hide the amount of things wrong with me and no one steps up, we're in a sad state. And this mask does me no good anymore because you terrorists know where I live. And you come on. It's ironic, but I have a Florida personality, I guess, just based on the law. Because I will stand my ground. I have done that for the past 5 years. Now, I'm coming back and I'm attacking. I'm not going to walk up in that VA office anymore nervous because someone's going to tell me I'm lying or accuse me of faking or laugh, snicker behind my back. I'm not going to laugh. I'm not going to go in there. Where is it? I'm not going to go in there while my arm is in so much pain that I can't even lay it on the bed at night and have occupational therapy instead of treating me when I bring in my records that's showing all the nerve damage and the neurological tests and treatments before. Sit there, let me stay in pain, ignore it, and make me some bullshit like this. This is supposed to be for my arm. And I'm supposed to sleep in it. And then when I read a record, um, the tremors you saw from me trying to write, they're called intentional tremors. Uh, this started happening in 2008, where doctors were noticing it. And they all were right. They called it intentional tremors. Intentional tremors, right worse than left. Maybe 8 to 10 doctors wrote this. And she would clown me and say, yeah, he has intentional tremors, all right, intentionally controlled. This is in my medical record. Who the fuck is supposed to help me looking at something like that? She disputed everything wrong with me. All the neuropathy, these tests. How can you say looking at me or the way I'm holding something means I don't have this damage? This is who we're dealing with. This is who you trust to take care of us. The buck stops with you. I've heard you say it, and you're right. I felt the same way in my career. My soldiers, my section, my airfield stops with me. And I've always been accountable for it. So what are you going to do?